So if I'm maybe someone in my 30s, maybe I have kids and I'm tired all the time because I have kids, and I'm like, oh, it's just because I have children. I don't need to do any of this. No.
Perimenopause starts in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Spotlight Sioux Falls, where culture meets commerce and the people behind our favorite places get the mic.
We're your hosts, Melissa Goodwin and Steve Schmidt, and we're sitting down with the makers, doers, and dreamers shaping the soul of our city.
From storefronts to side hustles, tattoos to tech startups, we are telling the stories that make Sioux Falls shine.
Because behind every business is a human story, and those stories, they're what make our community feel like home. This is Spotlight Sioux Falls.
Today we are back at Radiant Health and Hormone with the owner, Jessica Morrell. Jessica, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
So great to have you here. There was a lot of questions that I know a lot of our listeners have had over the last few months about hormones. We hear a lot about hormones and how they work together, when we need them, if we need them. So we're excited to dig in a little bit more today. So we're here at your office. Tell us a little bit about, for those that aren't familiar, what is functional medicine and how is it different than maybe traditional medicine?
Functional medicine really takes a dive at the root cause. So it's not just a pill for every ill, but backing up and asking why. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that why takes several whys and deep dives. But it's more of a collaborative and digging in, well, what happened to you 20 years ago? What happened when these symptoms happened? What changed? And maybe some specialized testing. But it's not just symptom management.
So there's from a consumer standpoint, it can be really confusing. Like, when do I need a functional medicine practitioner? Sometimes it gets lumped into alternative therapies. Mm-hmm. Tell us if someone's never heard of functional medicine, when would I give you a call? When would I start looking for functional medicine?
When you have symptoms that you maybe feel at dis-ease, but you don't have a disease.
Okay.
So you might go to the doctor and they run a blood panel and everything's fine, but you don't feel any better. Maybe you have some GI issues that are starting, but you have a normal colonoscopy, or you maybe once in a while have some heartburn, but it's not a daily thing. So there isn't really a diagnosis that someone can give you. It's more of those annoying symptoms. Mm-hmm. Or you're not sleeping well, your energy's not the same, you've noticed some weight changes, but it's more than just one day that's a problem, and it is not something that can put you in a chronic disease diagnosis, and there's not one magic pill to fix it.
Absolutely. Okay, so help us understand it seems like there's a lot of new clinics popping up. It feels like I see a lot of stuff on Instagram or Facebook about hormones, and it might be it's just me because there's like the whole perimenopause, menopause mm-hmm. things. There's a lot of advice out there.
Yes.
How would a consumer know who to choose, where to go? Like, what are some questions we should be asking, whether it's Radiant or any provider?
Well, first of all, I think that all of that attention and more hormones is fabulous because finally we're talking about it.
Okay.
People are wondering, people are asking, and so when they're seeing it on their Instagram feeds, it's brought to light, which is great. But you need to go to somewhere that they listen to you and they don't just address hormones only, but we're looking at the whole body system and getting a full history. Because the hormones are integral to all the body systems, and hormones aren't just the sex hormones. Hormones are cortisol, hormones are insulin, hormones are thyroid. So training probably would be one thing you'd want to ask. What kind of training has someone had? How many, are they trained in hormones? How long have they done it? Do they do bioidentical hormones? Because that is really preferred. Bioidentical means the same chemical structure as what your body's used to having. It's not a made-up chemical that kind of fits the receptor like a sticky key.
Okay.
They metabolize differently. So those would be two big questions, is training, experience, and what kind of evaluation is there?
So what kind of training do you have? Can you speak to that a little bit?
I have a certification from the Institute of Functional Medicine.
Okay.
Which was probably it was the first functional medicine program. It still is. Mark Hyman was one of the founders. And then I have done hormone training through A4M, the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, the IFM, bioidentical hormone therapy training, Hormonal Health Institute. So just keep learning more and more.
So what are some things that people, when they come into your clinic, what are they typically frustrated with?
Weight gain, can't sleep, no energy, no motivation, and mood changes, I would say. And then there's also the vasomotor symptoms that go along with the menopause transition, like hot flashes and night sweats.
Sure. So that we're really familiar with, hot flashes, night sweats. You hear about that. The other part, not so much, or at least haven't until this date, right? And so when you talk about hormones specifically, what are the things that people are typically maybe experiencing that you don't necessarily relate to hormones? I didn't realize insulin was a hormone until you just said that, or cortisol was a hormone.
Joint pain.
Joint pain.
People don't realize that their estrogen is low and they're having this hip and shoulder pain, and we put them on estrogen and it goes away.
Interesting.
Joint pain is a big one that people don't connect. And the weight gain, because when estrogen drops, you're more likely to gain fat, because estrogen is a kind of a fat metabolizer.
Okay.
Lack of motivation, the mood changes, all those receptors in your brain.
So, and it's not a static thing. So it's not
No.
like it's steadily declining. It goes down and up and down and up. So how do you deal with that with patients? How do you help them through that roller
You have
coaster?
to, well, a lot of explanation. Perimenopause is a moving target, and it's not the same for anyone. And you will have low levels for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you'll have really high levels for 2 weeks, and then you'll have a week of feeling good. It's kind of like purgatory, I think. There's so much change so rapidly that people feel crazy.
Yeah.
And we can't measure hormones every day to know, oh yes, take it today, don't take it tomorrow. So we have to do our best at managing the external factors, like trying to keep cortisol level, exercising regularly, keeping detox pathways going, keeping insulin stable, because that does really impact hormone production and metabolism. So all those lifestyle strategies that you didn't have to worry about when you were in your 20s, you now have to worry about, because your hormones are erratic. And whatever we can do externally to help mitigate those changes or minimize them, it's really important. We talk a lot about sleep and prioritizing sleep, because that's your reparative, your restorative, your GI system resets, your metabolism resets. And we tend to think, oh, I have all this other stuff, I'll just cut down on the sleep. And workouts may not be what they were when you were 30.
I feel
probably do not have time to spend an hour and a half in the gym, and that's okay. It's okay to back off and still be active. And maybe that's important, because if your cortisol is high, which it probably is when you're in this transition and have all these stressors, when you work out really hard, you're further exacerbating that cortisol.
Right.
So just doing weight training, 20 to 30 minutes, 3 days a week, can be as effective as what you were doing running for an hour.
When people hear the word hormone, that can trigger a lot of things, especially for women, right? I think we're very, we need to tough it out. There's a lot of naturalists out there that are like, I don't need that. We weren't designed for that.
Right.
How do you answer that question?
Well, we also weren't designed to live past childbearing years.
Fair.
So we're living a lot longer now. So quality of life is a big thing. You're not going to start making more hormones. Once the ovaries shut down, there's nothing you can eat. There's no amount of exercise you can do to make more hormones.
Okay.
You're just not going to make them. I think fear is the biggest hesitation people have. They're so scared of getting breast cancer.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So it goes back to the Women's Health Initiative that was published in 2001, which since the authors have come out and said, that was junk, throw that study away. We've relooked at the data. That is not the case. We did a disservice. Out of that study, they found the biggest risk of breast cancer in the hormone realm was taking a progestin, which is not a bioidentical progesterone.
Okay.
The progesterone was protective, the progestin was increased risk. Even the Premarin, which is from pregnant horse pee, it's not a bioidentical estrogen, didn't increase the breast cancer risk in those people. And it was a large study. So using bioidentical estrogen in other studies has actually shown a decreased risk in breast cancer. And in fact, if you are on estrogen therapy, you get diagnosed with breast cancer, you are 40% more likely to live.
Okay. And if you have breast cancer, do they often tell people to take bioidentical estrogen?
No, they don't. However, it was being looked at as a treatment, and it is now again being looked at as a possible treatment.
Interesting. So for those who are worried about taking estrogen because they're afraid they're going to get cancer, or taking hormones because they're afraid it's not natural or that it will cause cancer, what would you say to them?
Bioidentical estrogen, estradiol specifically, is an immune modulator. And estradiol and testosterone improve your immune function. And if you're developing a cancer of any type, you have to have a robust immune system because that's what fixes it.
Okay.
We're developing cancer cells all the time. Our immune system just takes care of
Flushes it out.
And so when your hormone levels drop, you lose some of that immune function. So
We talk about high protein all the time.
yes.
And so I've got this theory. So I've been watching like the Dan Buettner. He does all this stuff on like how the people who live the longest in the world.
Yeah, the blue zones. Yes.
And he's like, you need to eat more beans. And I'm like, well, and lots of fruits and vegetables, homemade things, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's so focused on protein and protein powered. No, I don't hear a lot of people talking about fiber.
Yes, fiber is so important. I am a protein proponent as well.
Okay.
In the right amounts.
Okay.
Not U-shaped curve. Not too little, not too much.
Yeah.
But fiber, 25 to 35 grams a day. Most Americans get about 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you have to be very diligent you have to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. You have to eat the beans, the whole grains, the avocados,
Right.
the nuts and seeds. But it really helps balance insulin. It also is fabulous, especially PCOS type people.
What is that?
PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
I want them on high fiber. It really helps decrease the androgen effects or helps the testosterone. In those cases, testosterone is not metabolizing down the pathway we want it to go, and fiber helps move it.
Okay.
Fiber is also fabulous for your GI tract.
For all kinds of things.
For all kinds of things.
Yeah,
So-
right. So protein, but also fiber.
Yes.
Yeah. Two things that are not very fun.
No. And, everybody's always worried about carb counting, and
Right.
I don't want people to worry about carbs or fat, like eat balanced, but if you're getting the right amount of protein and you're getting a high fiber diet and you're keeping your sugar under about 30 grams a day, you don't have to worry about your carbs and your fats. They're going to fall into place.
That's
because
true.
those high fiber foods are low carb.
So this is a silly question, but when they presented me with my results and they said, you should probably take some testosterone, I was like, I don't need any more of what's going on with the little hair things, what's going to happen. What do you tell people about that?
So
Because it does happen, right?
It does happen, yeah. And women actually have more testosterone in their bodies than they have estrogen,
I didn't know that.
just not as much as men.
Okay,
In an optimal body.
got it.
If you are doing the things you're supposed to do and your insulin is well managed, the side effects are going to be less
Got it. Okay.
because of the insulin piece.
So we need to make sure we're looking at all of
Gotta
the things.
look at all the things.
Got
yes.
it. Okay.
Yep.
So many of us come to this stage of life and the weight gain happens. And it's so frustrating. And I hear it from everyone in my peer group is like, everything I did before, everything's changed.
work.
I can't eat the same. We're all angry about it. I feel like you have to monitor every single calorie you eat just to stay in a consistent pattern. So
Right.
tell us what's happening.
This drop in estrogen and the deposition of fat, particularly in the midsection, and the problem with it, well, besides we don't like to gain weight, is that it is really promoting visceral fat, which is the bad fat that gets around the organs,
Right.
not just the subcutaneous fat. So if you can get your estrogen levels up to the optimal range, you will get back into that fat burning mode and really decrease the visceral fat. It also is anti-inflammatory, so it's going to help prevent cardiovascular disease. It keeps your bones strong. So estrogen and testosterone are known to improve bone density and help maintain bone density, which is very important. The joint pain, just the overall inflammation, but its impact with the fat and rapid fat gain when estrogen is low is what's happening in that transition.
So if I'm maybe someone in my 30s, maybe I have kids and I'm tired all the time because I have kids, and I'm like, oh, it's just because I have children, I don't need to do any of this. No.
Perimenopause starts in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
And your adrenal glands can tank at any time. In your 20s and your 30s. And that really impacts the rest of the hormone cascade, because your adrenal glands are making your cortisol, so they're making your adrenaline, your fight or flight. They also respond if there's inflammation, if there's infection. So when you're coming out of a pregnancy and you have 2 other kids at home, they're taxed.
Right.
And that impacts your thyroid function, and it impacts your sex hormones.
Okay, interesting. So, in terms of your baseline, then how do I know when is a great time to get a baseline? When if you could say, come in at this age, what would it be?
I don't know if I would say age, but early 30s probably would be great to get a good baseline.
Okay.
If you're feeling great in your mid-30s, that's a great time. If you're feeling great at 40, that's a great time.
Sure, and then you can kind of look at that as you get older and say, like, this is normal for me, or
look how much I've dropped in these 2 years.
Sure.
And what symptoms do I have, or do I have any?
So if anything, even if you're feeling great or not feeling great, getting a baseline is important.
I think so. I think it's valuable information to have. I mean, it's not going to hurt you any to have it.
To know where your levels are at any age. So, and when people have come in and they've had treatments, what are you seeing in terms of, what have they said to you that says, like, oh, this is working, this is helping me? Obviously, you've been in business for how long? For how many years?
In this practice for almost 3.
3 years. So you've had good...
But I've been doing this since...
For 20 some years, yes.
Almost 18.
So what do people tell you?
They're sleeping better, energy is better, they can exercise, and they're actually feeling like they're making progress in the gym. Mood is better. They're not so cranky.
And probably, just overall feeling like themselves.
Yes.
All right, we are now here in the acupuncture room, and I am with Amy Sue Thompson. So Amy, you have gone through some training. I would imagine it takes a couple hours, maybe 2 or 3, to learn how to be an acupuncturist.
It was about 330 hours.
330, okay, maybe a few more than a couple.
Yeah. So it was about a year-long process.
Okay.
Training specifically for providers in Western medicine to exemplify their practice with acupuncture. So.
And Brienne, thank you for being our lovely patient here today. So we're actually going to see how this works. But maybe first, before we get into that, tell us about, how does acupuncture work? Like, why would I come and think about acupuncture as a service if I maybe need some hormone treatments or other kinds of midlife treatments?
So lots of things that acupuncture can treat. A lot of people think of pain management for acupuncture treatment, but it can treat, hot flashes, anxiety, insomnia, which are a lot of symptoms and things we experience with perimenopause and menopause. So those are some things. Cortisol regulation, constipation is another thing, ringing in the ears, seasonal allergies, smoking cessation. So there's lots of different things that acupuncture can treat.
Okay.
With acupuncture, how it works is you have these neural pathways that go up and down the body, and those neural pathways, when we strategically place needles in those different points throughout the body, that helps regulate or reset the neural pathways. And so it can release endorphins, so a lot of relaxation. People will feel really relaxed during their procedure. They also can help manage some of those PMS symptoms, and if it's muscle tension, that can help with just mood and regulating that as well. So.
Okay, so let's see how it works. Can you show us kind of, and how do you know where to put the needles?
Yeah.
Is that part of your 330 hours practice?
Exactly. The 12 different meridians, there's 365 points. So, we go through a thorough exam and history so that we can determine where we want to place those. So it's that rebalance there's a lot of factors, a lot of thought process that goes into it, but there's a lot of points that treat many different areas. And so if we're thinking about constipation, we're not just going to do the abdomen. There's going to be other areas that we do as well. So the needles themselves are very tiny. They're like hair thin.
Okay.
So we have to use a plastic guide to tap them in. Otherwise, they're just going to bend. And so usually you don't feel a thing. If you do, it usually goes away. And so we'll do a few for you. Okay? Sounds good. All right.
So while you're putting this in, how long do the needles stay in? What am I doing while you're tapping these needles into my...
So a lot of times we're talking, through what some of their symptoms are and what things that they are experiencing as we're putting the needles in, and then we leave them in for about 20 minutes. We turn the lights down low so they can relax. The bed is warm. We have some nice music on, and so that they're feeling really relaxed. And some will come out feeling very sleepy. Others feel energized when they get done. So a lot of the insertion, we're just kind of feeling the proper place to put the needle in. A lot of times I'll do a twisting just to make sure it's secure in there as well. Each one is placed individually. When we're talking about real tight muscles, we have some E-stem too that we can hook up to some of the needles, where we'll do a little dry needling into some of those tight muscles, and that just helps encourage those muscles to relax too. So that, incorporated with the meridians and the neural pathways that we're needling, can really help with some of that muscle relaxation. So with migraines, just back muscle tightness, neck stiffness. The scalp also is a microsystem for the body, so there's lots of different areas there. The ear also is a little microsystem too, so there's about 165 different points in the ear that we can needle to. So that can help.
Can you speak to maybe how many needles you're putting in, or what you would typically do for a treatment?
Yeah, the needles can be anywhere from 15 needles to 30 needles. I've put more in for some people, just depending on the symptoms we're treating. So it just really depends on that. Sometimes less is better. You don't want to overload the system either. So.
All right, Brianna, are you feeling good? You're comfortable?
Yep.
You're relaxed? Okay, good. Well, tell me a little bit more about now. So you talked a little bit about how this helps with perimenopause and menopause, and even for men, and recovery, a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit more about GI. How does this help with, and tell us what that means. Like what kinds of things might somebody come into you for, and how does this help?
Yeah, we have a lot of people have issues with constipation, so there's a lot of acupuncture points that can help with that motility, even relaxation for that, and so it can really complement some of our treatment that we do functionally for constipation and GI issues. Upset stomach can help as well. So with that nausea, there's a lot of points that can help with that too.
So for those that are skeptical and like, I don't know if this is for me. This is something that's been around for thousands of years, right? What have you seen in your patients? What have they said to you?
Yeah, I've had patients be surprised about the treatment and how well it's helped. There's a few that it doesn't help, and sometimes that's very few that I've had that regard. But for most people, they can be surprised on how well they feel and how quickly they can feel better too. Treatment varies how many treatments you need. If it's something that's been going on chronically, you may need several treatments, 10 or more, and then you can kind of start spreading those out. Something that's really acute may need 1 or 2 treatments with that, and so you may feel, yep, I feel pretty good for a day, and then symptoms start back. So the continuation of those treatments then kind of builds on that and how your body's healing.
I really like this one at the top. That one kind of like tops it all off. The little needle at the top of the head. That one got me. All right, I am here at Radiant Health and Hormone. We are now talking with Emily Friedman. You're the expert on all things testosterone, is that right?
Sure.
All things, all hormones?
All hormones.
So we're talking specifically about men in this little segment. So you see a lot of men that come into this clinic.
Yep.
Tell me, what do they typically come and why are they coming to see you? What are the things that they're worried about?
Yeah, so aside from their wife sending them in, they'll come in with some fatigue usually, loss of like zest, maybe some ED issues, some not so much moodiness, but like anxiety, they'll say.
Okay.
Muscle recovery and like joint pain. Those
Got
are
it.
usually the big ones.
So are those all things that are testosterone issues?
They are typically tied to testosterone,
Okay.
lower testosterone, but they can be from environmental factors. They can be from lifestyle factors as well. So.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like there's testosterone clinics on every block. So tell me, what do you do differently here that maybe some of the typical clinics don't provide?
Sure. So with our functional medicine background, we really look at the whole picture and everything that's going on. So yes, they may have low testosterone, but also it could be related to diet. It could be related to the medication they're taking already for something else. It could be related to sleep or stress, lifestyle in general. So we take a look at the whole picture.
And tell me, so if I have low testosterone, I might have joint pain. What are some other things that maybe I don't realize are related to hormones?
Sure. So blood pressure can be,
Okay.
insulin resistance, diabetes, cortisol levels.
Diabetes can
Yeah.
be related to your testosterone levels?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So I would imagine, now there's a lot of different ways you can get testosterone. I understand there's a cream, is there pills and injections, is that right?
Cream, injections, pellets.
Pellets,
Are
okay.
The typical.
So when
forms.
would I use like a pellet versus a cream? How would I know?
Yep. So it kind of depends on your goals and your lifestyle, I would say. So I've had a lot of men that maybe were on injections before that come to have a pellet placed because of the longevity of it. I have some men that are younger and they don't want to do a pellet for 60 years, so they're doing a cream. So it just kind of depends on the goals and not necessarily the testosterone level.
Now, one thing that I didn't realize was, until talking with some of your team members, was that it's not just one hormone in isolation. Like men also do they have progesterone as well, or other estrogen as well too?
Right, they do. Yes.
So when women are going, we talk a lot about perimenopause and menopause. Do men have similar kinds of trajectories with their hormones going wild?
More so in just a steady decline. So
Okay.
as you age, there's a steady decline in that. And some men have when they do have testosterone, that converts to estrogen, and so they can have more of the women type symptoms.
Okay.
And so that's a conversion factor that we also can work with.
So is it often that you would not just prescribe testosterone, but you might have a few other things that you're offering up as well?
Correct. Yep.
So what might that look like for?
So there are, and sometimes even with low testosterone, we might work with a supplement first. So
Okay.
different supplements for libido or ED or just low testosterone in general. We also offer peptides in addition to hormone therapy, and so those are all supplemental too, either for the testosterone itself or for other signs and symptoms that they're having.
What is a peptide and what does it do?
A peptide is a protein, and there's all different peptides and that do all different things.
Okay.
So for men specifically, we have ones that help with joint pain, help with muscle building in addition to testosterone. We have ones that help with sleep, inflammation, weight loss. So all of those are peptides.
So can you just order a peptide on Amazon?
Yes.
Oh no, you can.
Some you can. There's one
Okay.
that you can get, I think, one that you can get just an oral form on Amazon, although I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, you wouldn't recommend it. So you would prefer that I would assume, like, how many kinds of peptides are there? I have no idea.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. So you would need
So.
to know like which one you would need to take
Right.
and what form you need to take it
Right,
in and
how
what
often, how
dosage,
much-
all
yes,
those things. Okay.
exactly.
So that's why I would come and see you, because you could help me
Yes.
figure that out.
Yeah.
And you guys have all that here.
We do have most peptides available to us. So
And then what else? Like if someone needs some hormone therapy, what other things might you provide a male patient that comes in here?
So for male patients, we not only look at hormones, but we look at their thyroid, and then like their A1C, so checking that, insulin resistance, and vitamins, minerals, to make sure that, again, the whole body is taken care of.
Lifestyle. A lot of times if we're like maybe out hunting with our buddies, maybe have a good time the months of October and November, how does that affect, or maybe not eating right, how does that affect different hormones and the cocktail of things that we're taking?
It's a large impact. So food is medicine, and so from a functional medicine basis, we really focus on that and putting good things in the body. So if you know it's not good, then I would suggest not putting it in.
Well, how does it affect, and I agree, easier said than done, right? I was just complaining about how you know what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's just hard doing it.
It's hard to do, yes. It all affects everything together. Like it's just a big cycle, I would say,
So if I'm not eating right and taking a bunch of testosterone,
right,
that could be a bad thing.
You
right?
may not have the benefits that you are hoping for.
Oh, got it. Okay, so coming in and seeing you, and you can help advise me. Do you help do nutrition kinds of guidance? Okay. All right, sounds good. Anything else that you think men should know? If you could put anything on a billboard and let men know, what would it be?
You don't have to suffer. Honestly.
I love that, yeah.
Women or men think just because they're getting old, they should feel like this, and they shouldn't. It's the same for women. Like, just because you're postmenopausal, you don't have to feel like that. So I feel like I tell the men the same thing. Like, yes, you're aging, but you don't have to feel like that.
Yeah, that's great to know. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this insight. And for any guys out there, even if you don't know if you need it, like what if I don't know if I need testosterone or not? Should I come in and see you? Like, how do I get a baseline? How do you help someone figure that out?
Yes, come in, see me. We do a full intake. We do labs, and we can always get a good baseline regardless of if it's low or not. Yeah, and then there's always something that we can optimize.
Well, anything else that you would like people to know about Radiant Health and Hormone and what you do here that might be different?
We have a great respect for the clients that come to us. And this space exists to help people feel better. And we want to listen to them, and we want to be a partner in them just being the best version of themselves they can be.
Well, I appreciate that. It is a lot about hormones, but it's not just hormones. You have the functional aesthetics, you've got acupuncture, you've got all kinds of supplements and things to help people through this phase of life, and that you really stop and listen to people for kind of as long as it takes to get a good picture of who they are and how to help them. So I can sense that difference here when I come in and when we talk with you guys, and your great amount of experience. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you being on the show. And if you are interested in learning more about Radiant Health and Hormone or how to get your baseline, make sure to click on the show notes below. And where else can they find you?
RadiantHT.com, and we are on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks.
This episode of Spotlight Sioux Falls is sponsored by Magnetic. We help businesses grow through content that stands out and software that scales your conversations. Not sure how to build your pipeline? You can find us at magnetic.services. Magnetic.services. Your pipeline will thank you.
Thanks for listening to Spotlight Sioux Falls.
These are the stories and the businesses that shape our city. If you heard something today that made you smile, made you think, or maybe reminded you of someone you know in your neighborhood, please share it.
That's how we support local. That's how we grow. And if you know a business owner we should feature, or you want to tell your story, reach out.
Until next time, we're Steve and Melissa, and this is Spotlight Sioux Falls, where local stories get the stage they deserve. Running a business means we all wear a lot of hats, but sometimes you need extra hands, sometimes some specialized talent to keep projects moving.
That's where our friends at Solvo Global come in. Whether you need offshore or nearshore resources or long-term project support, Solvo connects you with the right people to scale your business.
They make it simple. You get trusted talent without the overhead, so you can focus on growth instead of scrambling for help.
Check out the link in our show notes below to learn more about how Solvo Global can support your next big move.